March 6, 1884. While we sojourned in Larberg's Landing, we heard stories coming from a remote river town called Seto's Mill. Incredibly, many travelers have reported that flesh-eating corpses had risen from their graves and were devouring travelers and citizens alike. No one knows for certain where the undead are coming from, but some have speculated that they are from an ancient graveyard in Scrogg, a swampy region to the south of the town that many believe is a hive of supernatural phenomena.
Good evening, and welcome back to the Solo Gamers Club and my continuing playthrough of Shadows of Brimstone. This is episode 9 of season 3, and the posse has just arrived at the port of Seto's Mill. Before we begin tonight's episode, I just had a few items I wanted to discuss. The first one was, in the previous episode, we used a special event table, and I've made some revisions to that. And basically, I was not aware that I had done this, but in the use of the special event table, we were supposed to randomly determine a member of the posse that would be involved in that, and then that individual would roll on the table. Well, I had results in the table that would have referred to random members of the posse. So what I've done is I've changed that now to be, you'd make a roll to determine who is involved, and then the table now reflects the results only for that individual, rather than rolling for a random individual and then having another random individual in the table. So I've corrected that, and I will update that into the rules the next time I post revisions. The other item that was brought to my attention by a viewer was how I handled the dynamite in a episode, I think it was 2 episodes ago. I was under the impression that as dynamite was a side bag token, that it could be used, like it says, discard, and you can use it whether you performed your attack or not during the turn. Well, after more careful reading, I found out that it clearly states that the dynamite is a standard attack. And the reason I know this is when you compare some of the other items that are in side bags, such as the hatchet or holy water, it specifically says on those that it's a free attack. Well, the dynamite does not have that designation in it, so I should not have been able to throw the dynamite in the way I did. It should have been either my hand-to-hand combat that I did, or a ranged attack, or to throw the dynamite. You can't do both. So in the future, I will be using dynamite as a ranged attack, and I will not be able to use that at the same time that I'm also making my normal attack. So I just wanted to clarify that. The posse is at the docks at the river town of Seto's Mill. We've determined that Seto's Mill is a large town, so it's going to have a total of 8 locations, and then also including the extra location, the gambling hall. So we've got the street market, blacksmith, church, frontier outpost, smuggler's den, sheriff's office, Indian trading post, doctor's office, and the gambling hall. Once again, this is a wealthy town, so I've made some reminders for myself. The hotel is $20 per person per stay, and then all purchases are plus $10. I'll give you a small update, or a quick update, on the status of the heroes. Martin is now level 2. He has $60 in cash, 35 XP. He's carrying no sanity or health damage. He has 3 corruption. He's got 5 rations, a fine cigar, whiskey, 2 bandages, and 1 dynamite in his side bag. Lannie is level 1. She has $110, 370 XP. She's carrying 1 wound and 2 sanity damage. She has 1 grit, 2 rations, 2 potions, and 1 spice. And both heroes are wanted. So I'm going to put out a wanted card here so I can remember that we have to deal with that during our town stay. The posse is in pretty good shape as for, at least for supplies and side bag tokens, so I don't think we're going to stay real long in Seto's Mill. I'd like to possibly grab a few extra items, and then I think we'll head out and head towards Scrogg's Bog for our mission, Night of the Dead. All right, we'll begin the town stay with a daily event draw. We'll give our deck a cut and see what we come up with. Here's the card. It says Old Prospector, Town Daily Event. Sitting in a rocking chair on the walkway outside the Rusty Pan watering hole, an old prospector tells tales of his adventures on the frontier to any who will listen. All heroes may make a Lore 5+ test. For each 5+ rolled, gain 5 XP. Okay, that sounds good. We'll start out with Martin. He has a Lore of 2, so that will allow him to roll 2 dice. Here's his roll. And he has no successes, so nothing there. Lannie has a Lore value of 4, so she'll be able to roll 4 dice on this test. And she has no successes either, so nothing happens with that. And now the posse will select their accommodations, and they're going to both stay at the hotel. That'll cost each of them $20. And that's going to leave Martin with $40 and Lannie with $90. I've made the rolls for the Black Market Alley, which is a extra option available at the River Town, and I've determined that there's going to be 2 gear cards and 1 artifact from the Blasted Wastes. And the gear cards are revealed to be a Badlands Adventure gear, gear, clothing, coat. This card has 1 bandages, 1 whiskey, and 1 tonic token. At the start of every adventure, refill the tokens on this card for free. These tokens may not be removed except to use. $1,250 list price and 2 anvils of weight. But wow, that's a very valuable item. Okay, the other one is a follower's hat, gear, clothing, hat. -1 to initiative. You are +1 damage on all attacks against targets with higher initiative. A henchman ally with this item equipped may roll 3 dice and discard the lowest when rolling on the henchman exploration chart. $150 list price. And then we have our Blasted Wastes artifact, and that one is Wasteland Goggles. Artifact, Blasted Wastes, clothing, eyes. +1 to cunning. Once per adventure or travel town stay, you may re-roll a skill test. $450 list price. Okay, we'll place those at the side of the display. Those are available for purchase at any time during the town stay. Now the posse can make their visits to the town locations. Lannie is going to make a trip to the street market. She's going to go there. And Martin is going to take advantage of a extra option at the river. And that's a find work on the docks. All right, we'll start out with Martin. And it says there, find work on the docks. Any hero may give up their day in town to work at the docks, loading and unloading cargo. Make a strength 3+ test. For every 3+ rolled, gain $25. For every 1 rolled, the hero takes D3 wounds, ignoring defense from the back-breaking work. Okay, Martin has a strength of 2, so he'll be able to roll 2 dice. And we're looking for 3s or better. And he scored 1 success, so he's going to earn himself $25, and he does not take any wounds in the process, so we'll give him $25. And that moves Martin up to $65, and now we'll take care of Lannie's stay at the street market. We'll begin there with a 2d6 roll and consulting the street market location event chart. Okay, here's her roll. She rolled a 4, and it says held up. Turning down a back street, you find yourself confronted by 2 armed gunmen. You must either pay them D6 times $100, D6 Darkstone, or try to fight them off, rolling 2d6. If the result is equal to or less than your initiative, you fend them off, gain 50 XP. If not, you are shot, take 2d6 wounds, ignoring defense. Well, that's pretty lousy. Lannie has an initiative of 3. So only on a roll of a 2 or 3 would she be able to extricate herself from this without taking some wound damage. Now the wounds would be 2d6 without defense. So in theory, she already is carrying 1 wound. If she rolled high, it could KO her, and then she'd be taking an injury. She does have a grit token, so that would allow her a reroll. But the prospects of actually defeating these guys are pretty slim. A roll of a 2 or 3 on 2d6. Well, given the choices, I think I'm just going to hand over the money. She has $90 in cash. So it'll be a d6 times $100 is what she would be having to surrender. So it would have been $600. But I think we'll just hand over what we have to them, which is the $90, and then she's going to be pretty much unscathed at least. Well, unfortunately, that disrupts a lot of her plans. She was going to make some deals in the back alleys. She was going to visit the bathhouse, which would have healed up some peril die worth of wounds and sanity damage, and maybe a little street gambling in addition to purchasing some rations, but she has no money right now. She could sell her Scafford bandana. That's $250, and that would be one way she could do this. That does give her, it says you gain +1 move, so which is pretty valuable. I'm going to have to think about that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to sell that Scafford bandana. And I do enjoy that +1 move that she gains out of it. But I think we're better off doing that, so I'm going to sell that for $250 in cash. Okay, first thing she's going to do is she'll purchase 4 rations. That'll get her rations up to a total of 6, and that's going to cost her $40. And then she's going to visit the bathhouse. It says limit once per visit. Heal peril die wounds or sanity damage, any mix, and gain 10 XP. It also says you may spend 1 grit in an attempt to remove any parasites you have. Roll 2d6 for each parasite. On a roll of 10 or better, it detaches from you in the warm water and moves on. Discard. All right, so she'll pay the $50, and we're going to roll a peril die, and that will allow her to heal up some of the damage that she has. She has 1 wound damage and 2 sanity damage right now she's carrying. Okay, here is a peril die. She rolled a 4, so that's going to allow her to completely heal up. She'll take care of 2 sanity damage and 1 wound damage, and at the same time earning 10 XP. And I think since Lannie's there, she's going to try a little street gambling. That's going to cost her $25. And then it says roll 4 dice and try to get a straight or a set. You may then pay an extra $25 to re-roll any number of those dice. After that, you may re-roll up to 3 more times at a cost of $50 each, plus any free re-rolls using grit. Note that this is an exception to the rule that prevents the same die from being re-rolled more than once. When finished rolling, if you have a straight or a set, gain the following. A straight is 4 in a row, $300. A set is 4 of a kind, and that's $100 times that number rolled. Otherwise, you lose and walk away wondering if those dice were rigged. Okay, so she's going to get to roll 4 dice, and then we'll see if we can get a straight or a set. Okay, here's the roll. And she's got a 4, 3, 3, and a 2, so that's nearly a straight. So I think what we'll do is we're going to keep 4, 3, and 2. And then I'm going to pay $25 to have her re-roll any number of the dice. And if we can get a 5 or a 1, we'll have a straight. Okay, here's the roll. We got a 1. Amazing. So we actually have a straight, and that's going to earn her $300 in cash. That is great. All right, so that's going to get Lannie at $400 in cash with her gambling that she did. That's great. I'm sorry, $410 in cash. That is great. All right, now it's time to see what the heroes have heard small talk around on the streets. And they have heard news of a Caverns of Cinder mission called Cracks in Reality. So we'll find out. We're going to go to the campaign map and we'll find out where that is rumored to be at. I did forget about Seto's Mill being a river town and it being a wealthy town. So all the prices should have been plus $10. So I'm going to rectify that. The bathhouse would have costed Lannie an extra $10, and the purchase of her rations would have been an extra $10 as well, but she would have earned an extra $10 on the street gambling. In effect, she is $10 is the difference. So I'm going to give back $10, and then that will rectify that situation. And I've made the roll. I've consulted the random location table, and I found out that the Caverns of Cinder mission, Cracks in Reality, is available at the Hellmouth. So we'll place it there. All right, then we're going to make our end of day roll. That is currently at a 1, so if we roll a 1, we'll have an event. Here's the roll. Rolled a 5, so we're good there. The only other consideration we have is the wanted poster, and we would technically have to make a roll for that, but we're going to be leaving anyway. I'm going to be leaving town, and we're going to be headed on the road towards Scrogg's Bog, so we won't even worry about that wanted poster. Actually, in reading the card, I think I will end up making the roll. It says here, at the end of each day in town, roll a number of dice equal to your hero level. For each roll of a 6, you are recognized, gain 10 XP. Then choose to either pay $50, bribing them to look the other way, or flee town to escape the law, ending your town stay. So there's really nothing to lose. We're going to be leaving anyway. So we'll do that. We'll start out with Martin. He's a level 2, and we're looking for 6s. Okay, he did get 1 6, so that's going to earn him 10 XP. And then rather than being bribed, he would just flee the town, which is no problem. It's a little bit disingenuous because being wanted was usually, if you're recognized, it would be a detriment, but that's how it's listed. All right, and then now Lannie is a level 1. She can roll. And she rolled a 5, so no action there. So the only thing out of that is Martin earned 10 XP. All right, we'll switch over to the campaign map, and we're going to be heading out on overland travel. All right, we are going to be using overland movement, so we're going to head out from Seto's Mill towards the waypoint, towards Scrogg's Bog. So we'll take that path that crosses the river. It's a light brown, light brown path. All right, our first leg of the travel is going to be on a light brown path. The guide is going to be Lannie today. We'll have her take the guide duties, and Martin will follow behind. And she's going to set a normal pace. There's no reason to rush this at this point. And we'll need to consume 2 rations to remain in supply. So each of the heroes will donate 1. That'll leave Martin with 4 and Lannie with 5. So we're fully supplied. And now we're going to make our overland travel roll. We'll need to roll a D8, and we'll be able to add 1 for being a mounted posse. Okay, here's the roll. We rolled a 7, and that's modified to an 8 on a light brown path. That's 0 travel hazards. So that means we've safely arrived at the waypoint. All right, so we've safely arrived at that waypoint, and now we're going to take the next leg of the journey. Now that's on an orange trail. An orange trail is a trail with difficult terrain, and that must be the swamp terrain that's in there. So we're going to be moving on that orange path towards Scrogg's Bog. We're back at the overland travel display, and we've selected our travel path. This time it's orange. That's trail with difficult terrain. Guide will remain as Lannie, and she'll still keep a normal travel pace. She's going to consume, each of them are going to consume 1 supply. That will leave Lannie with 4 and Martin with 3. And we're ready for our overland travel roll. This will be a D8 roll. And we're able to add 1 for being mounted. Now we're going to be using the orange column, so slightly more dangerous. Okay, here's the roll. We rolled a 5 that's modified to a 6. So we're going to have to resolve 1 travel hazard. All right. We'll be using our D100 travel hazard table that we've created. So we'll be rolling 2d10, a D100. The red die is the 10s, and this will tell us what we encounter. Here's the roll. We rolled a 0-8, so it's an 8 on the listing. We'll look that up. Entry 8 reads, a snake in the grass. As the guide passes some tall grass, a rattlesnake slithers onto the path and spooks his mount. The guide must make a luck 4+ roll. If they pass the test, they stay in the saddle. If they fail, they're thrown from the horse, taking 2d6 hits, but may roll for defense. In either case, roll for a mount injury using the overland rules. If the guide is unmounted, ignore that hazard. All right, well, we are mounted. So the first step is she's going to have to make a luck 4+ test. Her luck value, unfortunately, is only a 1. So that's not going to be too good. All right, she needs to get a 4 or better. And she did not. Now, she has a grit token, and we'd have to balance using that grit token, so beginning the mission without any grit, as opposed to a 2d6 hits, but rolling for defense. That's a tough one. I guess we're going to accept the result, and we'll take the 2d6 hits and be able to roll for defense. All right. 2d6 hits. Okay, here's the roll. She rolled a 3, so that's good. So right now she's taken 3 hits, but she's able to roll to defend against those 3 hits. And her defense is a 4+. Okay, here's the roll. She was able to stop 1 of them, so 2 wounds are going to get through. So she's going to take 2 wounds from that fall from the horse. So she's at 2 wounds out of 12 health. I guess that could have been worse. So, all right. And the posse has safely arrived at Scrogg's Bog, where they're going to undertake the Swamps of Death mission, Night of the Dead. All right, let's take a look at that Night of the Dead mission. Setup is all heroes are going to start on the mine entrance. The goal is going to be the heroes must fight their way into the cave system and destroy all of the corpse piles that the hungry dead are rising from. They must find and kill at least 12 corpse piles. Special rules. Undead Horde. For this mission, all threats are hungry dead. Whenever a threat card would be drawn, instead use the following. A low threat, which is what we're going to be doing, will be a peril die of hungry dead. As this mission has a dedicated table for the threats, we won't be using the mission theme table for this. It's a hungry dead theme. It says here, Elite Undead. Whenever a new group of undead enemies, whose specific enemy type is not already currently on the board, comes into play, they gain 1 extra elite ability beyond what they would normally have. Then it says piles of bodies. That's the objective. Each room map tile found by the heroes, not passages, contains a number of corpse piles and hungry dead to guard them. In addition to any encounters and attacks on the exploration token there. When the exploration token is revealed, also roll a d6 to see how many corpse piles are in the room. And that's going to range from 1 to 4. And it says here there are always a peril die of hungry dead in the room with the corpse piles. Immediate dread. For this mission, growing dread cards are revealed immediately when not drawn, rather than being placed in a stack. And the objectives are, once the heroes have destroyed at least 12 corpse piles, as well as other corpse piles and enemies currently on the board, the mission is successfully completed. The reward will be D6 times $50, as well as 1 free healing herbs or tonic token. Failure is the heroes, if they fail the mission, the hordes of the undead escape the caves and begin a zombie epidemic in the region. The heroes must travel twice as far as normal to get to a safe frontier. Every hero must roll twice to see if they add a travel hazard to the journey. So I think how we're going to rectify that is we're going to make travel will be doubled, basically. So whenever we travel from Scrogg's Bog, we're going to have to undertake 2 overland travel missions for each leg of the journey. That'll basically double that, and that would represent those zombies probably out in the open and us trying to avoid those large hordes of them. So I think that would make perfect sense. And I'm going to end the video here. We're going to begin our next episode, which will be episode 10, at Scrogg's Bog, and we'll be undertaking that Night of the Dead mission. I would like to point out that I'm going to be taking a short hiatus from the Shadows of Brimstone series. I posted a channel update a day or two ago, and there's some titles that I'd like to bring to the table that I'm very interested in playing. One of them I've got on order, and that's coming this week. It's called Dawn of the Zeds. I bought the base game plus the 3 expansions, and that game seems like it has just all the bells and whistles of what I'm looking for very deep narrative play on it. That'll be one of the titles we'll be bringing, and it's probably going to be the next title that I'll be bringing to the channel. So we're going to take a short hiatus. I would expect that we'd be back with the Shadows of Brimstone and playthroughs in a month or so. And in that subsequent time, I'm working on some solo rule sets for several other titles that I'd also like to bring to the channel maybe in fall. So that's just a short update as to what's happening. So thank you very much for joining me for this playthrough of Shadows of Brimstone, and we'll see you at the Solo Gamers Club at the next video. Thanks very much, and have a good evening.